Hey guys, welcome back to another F1 23 My Team Career Mode Journey video for the Cross GT Racing Career Mode. Coming off another really strong performance, we're doing quite well here in Season 1. We were at Monza for the last round, qualifying probably not as good as we had hoped, but qualifying is one thing, one lap pace is one thing, being able to put it together in the race is another. And Monza is always a really fun track to drive, very high speed oriented track, not overly technical, so not a huge amount of opportunity for like really good overtakes here, but we did end up making I think quite a few really good overtakes. Turn 1 being, I think, probably a favorite overtaking position section of the track there. We had some stiff competition from the Red Bulls here. So we go wheel to wheel with, I think that was Perez there. The Ferraris as well, also up the front, and the Mercs too. A few mishaps. We did go off the track a little bit there, a little wheel to wheel contact with Verstappen. A really strong battle with him. We couldn't quite keep up with the Ferrari of, I think it was Leclerc, and then possibly Sainz, one of them, and George Russell as well in the Mercedes. I think it was Leclerc and Russell battling at it up the front, and they were kind of just DRS training each other and pulling away. But we did manage to hold off the world champion Max Verstappen and come home with a strong P3 finish, another podium to add to the tally for this season. So doing quite well as we head into the facilities. So I think we're up to round, what are we up to now? I can't remember what round it is, but we are preparing for, I do believe it's the Japanese Grand Prix. That's a pretty fun track as well. That is quite technical, and in previous outings I haven't been overly good at that track. I don't think I've even added it into the career mode. But we've just received an email that Fernando Alonso is going to be retiring at the end of this season. Little message there. So we won't be seeing any more of Fernando Alonso at the end of this season. So that will definitely change up a few things in the driver order for next season, potentially. Brand new driver at Aston Martin, which could open up a space in another team as well. So that could be interesting, especially if we were to look at taking a driver in the current grid as well for our team for next season. But we'll have to wait and see what happens in that space. So we're just trying to focus on improving this car as much as we can. Nice discount there, chassis department event. Couple of upgrades getting onto the car before the race weekend in Japan, so that will help us out a bit in this race. It looked like a chassis upgrade and an aero department upgrade as well. Not an aero department, an aerodynamics upgrade as well. And as I was just talking there, our race engineer has just told us that, I think he's the race engineer. I don't actually know what his role is. I can't actually remember. But yeah, so regulation change for next season, and it looks like all of our chassis and aero parts are all going to be affected. So that's probably going to be putting our development of the car on hold, as we're going to need to save our resource points and use them to make sure we don't go backwards for next season. We're going to try and save as many, if not all, of our upgrades for season 2. We've been doing really well this season, and we don't really want to lose that progress. We want to be able to move forward and potentially be fighting up the front of the championship, both drivers and constructors next season. But the main focus at the moment is qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix. It looks like the weather might be starting to turn, so we need to get some good runs in early, so that if there is any rain, we don't get knocked out of qualifying. Car's feeling really good. It has felt really good for a while now. Our teammate just got the fastest lap. I don't think that's going to hold up. That's potentially, yeah, there we go. Verstappen comes in and takes that away pretty convincingly as well. But yeah, car's feeling really good. Yuki Tsunoda takes the fastest lap. The home crowd will be very pleased with that if he can convert that in the other later qualifying runs. As we come up to the final chicane here, George Russell now taking the fastest lap of 1:32.4. We're going to come around the final corner. It's felt like a pretty good lap, and we end up going fastest at 1:32.085. Really good lap there from us. It holds up. Lewis Hamilton getting close, 1.5 tenths behind us. It is just first qualifying. Unfortunately, Yuki Tsunoda ended up getting overtaken by virtually everyone. So I think he was knocked out. So home countryman not going to be going any further, I don't think, unless he got 15th or 16th. I'm not too sure. But Q2, the weather still hasn't turned just yet. There's still no rain. Hopefully it holds off and we can get through Q2 without any issues. So we just get on the curb a little bit there, a little bit extra on that right hander there, and we lose the back end of the car a bit. So yeah, the curbing there in that section a bit high, and you lose a lot of grip, and you can get caught on it quite easily. Max Verstappen a 1:33.6. So decent first lap from him. Fernando Alonso 1:32.8, showing that even though he's retiring, he's not backing down. He still wants to get a really good finish for the Aston Martin team, who are currently battling with us in the constructors. And we go 1:31.7, so we improve on our previous qualifying time by 3 tenths. Norris overtaking Alonso there to go into P2, but then he ends up dropping all the way down to P9. Hamilton and Russell again 2 and 3, so the Mercedes team showing their dominance throughout this season. I think Mercedes are at the top of the constructors, even though I think it's still Max Verstappen leading the championship, but those two Mercedes drivers are close behind him in the points. But we're showing that our car is built for this track. I say that and then we go wide at the hairpin. But hopefully that doesn't affect us too much. We did have a pretty good run through the first sector. Fernando Alonso, fastest lap again, 1:32.8. So a little bit, I think it was 1:32.7 in the previous one. I'm not sure. 1:32.5 from Charles Leclerc, the Ferrari getting up there as well. As we come around to the final chicane. 1:32 flat for George Russell. Can we convert another P1 finish in this qualifying session? We can, but only just. The 1:31.1. Oh, I say just, sorry. It was a 1:32 from George Russell. We smoked him. We were by, or more than half a second ahead of Carlos Sainz. So it'll be P1 for the Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to the magnificent Suzuka International Circuit, a stone's throw away from Issa Bay in the beautiful Japanese countryside. What surprises lie in wait for us today at the Japanese Grand Prix? Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. The captain lines up on pole position, and a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Russell, Leclerc, Norris, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Verstappen, Stroll, Ocon, Tsunoda, Albon, Magnussen, Joe, Hulkenberg, Sargent, De Vries, Bottas, and Ralph Boschung. That's it then, it's time to go racing. as we head down trackside for today's race.
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please.
So the rain has come in a day later than what it looked like it was going to. So it is going to be a wet race here in Japan. Intermediate tyres, going to go right to the end. Thankfully, when the rain hits, we don't have to do a pit stop. We can go right to the end on the inters. So good start from us, starting off in P1, and Sainz goes flying up the inside there, making a pretty late dive. But we managed to hold him off. A bit of contact there, but it's only wheel to wheel, so no damage to the car. Wet weather driving is pretty tricky, or at least I find it tricky. I don't usually race in the wet. Most of the times I've done races, it's been in the dry. So I still don't have a huge amount of experience with wet weather racing, but what I know is that I'm probably going to be need to go a bit slower than I think I need to go around these corners to just to stay on the track, really. But we've had a really good run so far. We are pulling away from the AI. One thing I have noticed, as we go a bit wide, we have to slow right down to get back on the track. Luckily, no warning for that. We were going quite slow when we came off the track, so got lucky there. But as I was saying, one thing I have noticed is the AI tend to be probably a bit more cautious in the wet. So even though I don't have a huge amount of experience, I'm not very good at racing in the wet. As you can see by the way I handled that chicane, we are able to get a decent run on the AI, as they are not, I guess, as confident, or the difficulty kind of, they kind of get a little bit lower in the difficulty setting when it comes to wet weather racing. But I mean, as you can see from the lap that we did, it was the first lap, so it's not really a very good indicator of the pace we need to use. But a 1:45.8, George Russell with the fastest lap by 1:45.3. That's 13 seconds off his dry qualifying pace. So quite a bit of braking and coasting and not a whole lot of really, I guess, heavy accelerating in the wet. Have to be a lot more careful there. Lap 4 in the driver order hasn't really changed. Sainz still in P2, George Russell and Hamilton P3 and 4, Leclerc and the other Ferrari rounding out the top 5. And we are 1.5 seconds ahead of Sainz. It has been fluctuating a bit, just with the inconsistency in my driving. Sometimes you'll get a bit close, you'll be within that second, and then other times, like now, I start to pull away. We're almost 2 seconds ahead. Purple through sector 2, so really good run through the second sector for us. Let's see if we can handle this chicane a better this time, and we do. We handled that pretty well. I'm pretty happy with the way we did that. Of course, in saying that, we were also using our energy supplies. We get a 1:44.2 fastest lap, and it's pretty much propelled us ahead. We're still 2 seconds ahead of Sainz. A little bit wide, a little bit of a slide there. That's not going to help us. We were 2.2 seconds ahead, and just like that, we are now we're now less than a second ahead of Sainz. So we got purple through sector 1 and red through sector 2 from that slide. We lost a second to Sainz through the second sector there. A bit of a cheeky run through the chicane there, just keeping one wheel contact with the racetrack. As we go purple through sector 3, Sainz still 1 second behind us. We are racing away, safety car deployed. It looks like on the map there, it looks like there's a car stuck near that chicane. at the end of the lap. So this is going to bunch the pack back up again. As we take a look at the replay, it looks like it's the AlphaTauri of Yuki Tsunoda, so the hometown boy, spinning out in that chicane. And then something happened. Oh, he's still parked there. And so he's just sitting there, and all of a sudden, my teammate, out of everyone, as we take a look from his perspective, he comes around through the chicane. You can see him parked right there, and he doesn't even try to move, and he just destroys his front wing. And so now he is going to have to come into the pits. We are in a safety car, so it's not too bad. It's going to help. That's going to help them to catch back up, at least. So yeah, lap 10, safety car is deployed as we now shift to Max's, follow Max's car there, our current Drivers' Championship leader. As all the cars are heading around through the chicane, through the final corner. Is anyone going to be going into the pits? Yes, they are. Max is going into the pits. Looks like a bunch of other drivers are heading in as well. We have not come in to the pits, so I'm hoping our team has a good strategy there. Probably would have been good if we had gone in and get in with that first run of cars before everyone bunched up again, because that is not going to be good for us, I don't think. Now we're into the pits. See what happens here as it skips ahead, and all of a sudden we are now P22. We led this race from the start. 10 or 11 laps we led this race, and then we go into the pits, and now we're into the pits again for some reason. Why are we in the pits again? We've gone back in again for another pit stop. We went in the first time for something, maybe to go into another set of inters, and now we've come back out. Oh, now we come back out on dries. So we've gone from P1, owning this race, to having to do 2 pit stops under safety car, and now we're in last. I have no idea what our team's strategy was there, but they've basically taken us completely out of the points. We have, when racing starts back up again, we're going to have 7 laps to try and salvage something from this race. We have the car to do it. We've proven that we've got the car to do this sort of thing, to be able to make our way through the pack. We do have, I would say, an upper midfield pace car. I don't know if we're quite at the front runner pace, but we would be close. So it's going to be a bit of a battle to try and get back up the front now. Currently sitting P21. DeVries the only one behind us, so we make quick work of Sargent right around the outside of that Williams. Wasn't too worried about getting past him. We've had plenty of pace on the back markers all season, thanks to the Ferrari engine that we started with, and also for the focus on the chassis department, just making the car as aerodynamic as possible. Big lunge up the inside, heading into the tight, long left hairpin. We end up jumping Alonso and Bottas in one corner. We're now side by side with Norris, deploying that battery. Doesn't quite work. We let him go. We're going to go a bit wide, but no warning there. We did sort of yield to Norris there. Didn't really want to try and do a dive up the inside into the high speed corner there. Plus we've got plenty of time. It's one lap, and we've already gone from P21 to P18. So we've gained 3 positions in one lap. And sure, they are back markers, but it's a good sign. Hopefully we can just sort of get towed along by some of these other drivers. George Russell's all the way back here with us. I didn't actually notice that when I was looking at the positions before. He was up in P3, I think it was, up with his teammate Lewis Hamilton, up at the front as we go around the outside of 1, 2, 3 cars, and then Boschang moves out of the way and lets us go through. 4 cars in that one corner, heading through that windy first sector. And here we go, we make a move around the outside of Russell and we just put the hammer down. We've got all that pace and all that maneuverability of this car. And then our teammate, seeing that we had the pace, he's on the hards, so he doesn't have the pace on us, and he just moved out of the way. But not only did he move out of the way, he slowed down all those faster cars behind him. So we managed to pass, and it wasn't even sort of slow cars that we were passing. It was the Mercedes of George Russell, the McLaren of Lando Norris, and then the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, all three of them in one corner, which I didn't expect we were going to do. I was hoping we could get Russell. I didn't think we'd get all of them. So there's 4 positions in that one corner, and we've got the pace to catch up to the next pack of cars. Albon and Tsunoda ahead of us. Tsunoda's managed to jump back up almost up into the points after that spin and then having his front wing destroyed by my teammate. As we go purple through sector 1, I just noticed. So we're definitely putting in some good pace. We're trying to get around the inside of Albon. A little bit of a touch on that back wheel of his there. Hopefully no major damage to the front wing. Nothing's going to affect us too much. It doesn't seem like it's done anything. But we do make pretty quick work of Albon. He moved out of the way after the contact. So not the cleanest overtake that we've done. A little bit of a slide, got up on that curb and lost some of that traction, some of that grip to the road. But sort of tucking in the back end of the slipstream to Tsunoda. Just close enough for it to be making some sort of an effect. And we managed to go right up the inside of Tsunoda. Right into the side of Nico Hülkenberg. He's not going to be happy about that. Hopefully we didn't damage his car. Somehow we managed to get away with not getting a warning for that, and we get the fastest lap. So a really, really risky move there for us to make on Hülkenberg, but necessary. If we hadn't made that, we would have been caught all the way back with him. Now he's only 4 tenths behind us, but I was about to say until we jumped ahead to here. We were 1.5 seconds behind. Now we're only 6 tenths behind Magnussen, who's probably being held up a little bit by Zhou and other cars potentially in front of him. But we're not going to complain. We're not going to complain. I have to enunciate a bit better there. But we are going to keep pushing. We are almost in the points after being put all the way back in last place. Lap 17, 3 laps left to go. And it's only up from here. We are definitely pushing as hard as we can here. The mediums feeling pretty good now, but I feel like they're probably going to start to drop off a little bit in the last couple of laps as we go around the outside of Magnussen. We touched the grass, we went a bit wide, can't make that move stick, but we do have the pace on the Haas, so our opportunity will come at some point as we are following right behind, getting right behind him here, right in that slipstream. Zhou right in front of him. And looks like we're going to make a move here. We tried to just get the one. Tried to get Magnussen duck in behind Zhou, but he was in the braking zone earlier than I thought. And we had to duck back out. And we managed to get around him pretty cleanly there. He did give us the space. So another really risky move there, which paid off yet again. Now up into P9. And now we've got Stroll, the other Aston Martin, ahead of us. If we can finish ahead of him, then it will keep our points advantage over Aston Martin that we have in the Constructors as we get another fastest lap, a 1:33.5 that time around. 2 more laps to go. Hopefully we can hold on to that fastest lap and get ourselves a little bonus point there for that. But the big thing for me right now is trying to finish ahead of Stroll. We've got plenty of pace, especially to that first sector. That first sector, we've got so much more pace than the other cars, which is where we can really capitalize and really make some gains. Right behind Stroll, we're looking around the inside, and we think better of it. Stroll shuts the door pretty quickly. We're heading up into our favourite overtaking zone. We get alongside Stroll. He tries to close the door on us. I feel like we were in the right of way there. We had our wheel alongside his car, so I don't think that's really on us, that one there. But we managed to get ahead of him, which is the main thing. So if we can just finish at least ahead of the Aston Martins, then that will be objective complete for our team. Not really competing with anyone else in the constructors. McLaren is too far ahead of us, but we are definitely trying to finish ahead of Aston Martin at this point. If we can finish ahead of them, it's big money coming our way at the end of the season. A nice P5 Constructors Championship finish for Season 1 would be huge. As we head up into the right-hander, we get past another couple of cars there. There's another McLaren there, the McLaren of Oscar Piastri, and now we're going to wheel with Ocon, who I'm pretty sure is still our driver's rival at the moment. We go really close to touching there. He thinks better of it and gives us the space. So we managed to overtake a McLaren and both Alpines. And I think there's another car in there as well that we passed. So we take another look at the replay. We managed to get around the inside there. Ocon moves out of the way but slows down so much that he actually collects his teammate, Pierre Gasly, there. Don't know if there's any damage, but we've managed to make our way all the way up into P5. Max Verstappen crossing the finish line in P1. He didn't finish that far ahead of us, to be fair. And we managed to collect P5 here in Japan after that horror change and pit stop strategy by our team after the safety car. Could have been a lot better. Could have been a race win for us, but we'll just have to take the P5.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Red Bull today. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
I think we'll chalk this one up to a deft touch on the brake pedal. That's allowed them to challenge down the inside into the braking zones, and ultimately, if you do that often enough, you end up winning the race. It was great to watch as well though, wasn't it? Forget strategy, forget tyre management. Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned scrap?
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
So, a 1-2 finish for the Red Bull team, looking to try and close the gap in the Constructors' Championship on Mercedes. Sainz getting P3 for Ferrari, so another good finish for them. Another race win for Max, pushing his lead in the Drivers' Championship out even further. This is going to make it harder for the two Mercedes drivers to catch up now. Lewis Hamilton did finish in P4, so he still gets some decent points. His teammate, however, outside, or not even outside of the top 10, outside of the top 14 there. He's not even on that first page. But we finished P5. We get ourselves 10 points. And Lance Stroll getting 2 for Aston Martin there, so that's going to increase our lead over them in the Constructors. The Drivers' Championship, George Russell's only 26 points behind Verstappen, so even with that win from Verstappen and the no points from George Russell, he's still well within reach. Lewis Hamilton a bit further back on 48. Red Bull have now closed the gap. It's only a 24-point game between Mercedes and Red Bull in the Constructors. We are now, what is that, 16 points clear of Aston Martin in the Constructors, which is really good for us. We are about 44 points or something. 44 points behind, or 54 maybe. I can't maths at the moment. 54 points behind McLaren, so we're probably not going to be catching up to them. We could do, but I find it's probably going to be pretty tough because they've been consistently scoring points. So pretty tough time trying to catch them, but we'll see what we can do in this last part of the season. But there we have it. That brings us to the end of this race weekend here in Japan. Really a good finish for us, P5, plenty of points, but really disappointed in the team with their just the strategy that they ended up doing. P1 to start all the way up until lap 11 when we went into the pits. We went into the pits on the second lap of safety car after a lot of the front runners went in first. We could have gone in there, got on some new tyres and come out still up in the front, still would have been effectively in the front. But then the fact we had to do another pit stop again after we were dropped all the way back to last because we were put on intermediates and we had to go back in for another set for some dry medium tyres. And so we had to fight our way back from the back, but again, a really amazing result there to get from P21 to P5 in 7 laps. Just goes to show how far this car has come. It was good at the start of the season, but now it's right up there. But we'll take the P5, we'll take the 10 points, and we'll carry on. We're not looking to win a championship this season, but we are definitely looking to finish ahead of Aston Martin now and claim that P5 in the Constructors if we can. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It would really help me out a lot. And I will see you guys all, hopefully with a better pit strategy in the next one.